Hi, I'm Tang, and after a couple months of multiple requests, I'm finally getting around to 540 tutorial because somebody reminded me. Yeah, so as with everything, you want to make sure you're stretched out first. Make sure that you have a good environment to practice. This ceiling is really low. I recommend practicing this somewhere with a really high ceiling or preferably with no ceiling at all. Otherwise, prerequisites are a tornado kick and that's it, but I'll be including that in the tutorial in case you don't know how to do it. And that's it. I'll leave up the, annotations, the little menu thing, and you can check it out right now. I'm going to do some hook kicks. Alright, last thing before I get started, it helps if you have some like athletic pants or something. These are not great for tricking, but I'm going to be b-boying after and I'm washing my magic pants right now, so you'll just have to deal with it. So first, you need to learn the setup. And the setup is a cheat setup. If you know it, skip over it. For people who don't know the cheat setup, this is how you do it. Some people like to go forward into it like this. I think it's retarded. It doesn't give me power, and it makes all the tricks a crap ton harder unless you like over cheat by like that much. So the cheat setup, I go side to side and it just looks like this. And that's all it is. And in a sense, a 540 is just that, except with one kick. Just one kick. And that's really all it is. But anyway, so I go counterclockwise with my b-boying, and I kick round kicks with my right leg. So this is how I'm teaching it. You go to your left. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is basically just step right over your left leg here, and then lift this leg up. And you're going to be jumping off your right leg. Now, there are a few things that you should know when you're doing this. First of all, using your arms helps a lot. You want to keep your arms relatively far back until you're about here, and then twist them around and torque up at the same time. So you want your shoulders to be pulling you up. So if I don't even jump and I only use my arms, this is what it looks like. Right, you can still get around, it's just you don't really have height. But it shows you how important your shoulders are. When you come up here, you want to lift this up as you're jumping, and make sure you jump off the balls of your feet. It'll get you more height, and it'll make it feel a lot easier too. Don't do this like flat foot stomp thing. It's not going to work, trust me, it's not. So you go around, use your arms, and everything just comes up together. And it goes up. And when you do that, you want to spot. Where you'll be spotting, I like to go head height and then imagine one head above that. You can spot head height, chest height, waist height, whatever you need. If you're just learning the move, I recommend kicking about stomach to chest height. But I mean, if you're flexible and if you're going 100%, definitely go head height if you can. So the way that this works is you go around, everything goes together, comes up together, you spot, and then for sake of learning this, what you're going to do is spot, and then come around and spot once more. Don't kick at all. So by the time that you're done learning your cheat setup, I want it to look like this. You go around, spot, spot, and then you're down. It should be really easy, feel really simple. You should be able to do it with your eyes closed, although you can't spot with your eyes closed, so forget that. You should be able to do it really easily without thinking about it. It's very basic and very necessary. As a last thing before moving to the tornado kick, I'd also recommend, you'll see why later, but when you lift with your left leg, try doing a straight leg lift. So it's pretty much the same, except you're going to lift it at your target. You're not going to kick your target with it, but you're going to lift at your target like this. And that'll help with 7s later, but more importantly, with the 540, it's a key thing that I want you to remember. Okay, so moving on past the setup, the tornado kick is a base kick, which evolves into the 540. And what the tornado kick looks like is this, basically. And that's a tornado kick. All it is the cheat setup, which I just did, plus a round kick at your target. So a round kick, your leg comes up chambered. This is the chambered thing for people who don't know. So it comes up like this, and then you just kick straight across your target. And that's all it is. It's just that. You do a cheat setup, and then this leg lifts, right? And the moment you leave the ground, you spot and just do one light kick, and that's all tornado kick is. When you're first learning it, it'll probably look something like this. You'll be like, ugh! And that's fine. That's totally fine. Because for a lot of people, tornadoes are really awkward because it's usually the first cheat kick you learn. So you have to get used to both the kick in midair along with the cheat setup, which can be difficult. Take some time to drill this. If you don't feel comfortable doing a tornado kick, don't move on to the next step until you get it. Some things that will help you a lot with the tornado kick, again, drilling your cheat setup, making sure you're really comfortable with it, and even doing like this little step over round thing. It's really easy. Just keep this leg off the ground, switch and kick, and that's all you're doing. So spot your target, lift this leg, switch and kick. And that's, you combine a cheat setup with that, that's a tornado kick. So cheat setup, switch kick, and that's all it is. For your tornado, you want to be really comfortable with this. I can't emphasize that enough. You want to be able to do it and kind of float a little bit to the ground. You should also be able to get your kick exactly on point to where you want it, and it should turn you around to face back forward. If your tornado kick still looks like this, you're probably not ready for a 540. You should be able to turn around back to where you're facing. So like a tornado kick, and then it'll automatically turn you back around. Don't force it. I know a lot of times when people say you need to have this prerequisite to be able to continue, a lot of people force that motion. Don't force it. It should be natural, and it should be a natural progression. Now once you get your tornado comfortable and you get it to float a little bit, like you'll feel it. It's like when you leave the ground after you kick, you don't immediately just slam into the ground. You should be able to like gently land and kind of twirl around like a little gay fairy. And that's, you'll feel it once you get it. So from that point, you're ready to evolve it into 540. It's not a one-step process, and for a lot of people, for most people, for like a vast majority of people, you're definitely not going to land this on your first shot. If you do, you're a prodigy, you should not be listening to my tutorials. For people that want to clean up their 540s, I'll make another annotation so you can skip ahead. This is how you learn the 540. So the 540 motion is just a tornado kick, except instead of kicking like this and then landing on your left leg, all you do is you keep this leg up and you kick over like that. And that's really all that it is. Don't try to overcomplicate it. Don't think of it as some crazy flipping motion, because it's really just a hyper tornado kick. When a lot of people try this, I tell them to do a tornado at 100% power and then a tornado at 200% power, and they'll automatically like try to hyper it. And that's good. That's what it should be. But to get you familiar with the motion first, one thing that I find helpful is just doing this, because that's how a 540 should feel when you land it. And all that is sorry, my belt's coming out. All that is you keep your left leg on the ground, you swing this leg up, and then you swing it across your target like a tornado, and then you land on it. It's really easy. If you do it, like, you can just go like this and get a feel for it. But the higher you go, the more muscle memory you'll build for where your 540 should be. Because if you're 540ing this high, you're probably not going to land it. So go to about where you would kick normally, and that's how your 540 should feel when you land it. So really all you have to do at this point is you have to combine your tornado with that motion. Easy, right? Not for a lot of people. And this is the problem that most people have, is that a lot of people, when they go for their 540, they'll go across, and then they'll only be thinking about landing on this leg. They'll forget everything about their tornado, they'll forget everything about their sheet setup, everything about common sense. And they won't even jump, they'll just try to swing this leg over them. And I'm not even going to do that because that hurts too much. It's also going to hurt your groin and your ankle really, really badly if you're doing it wrong. So if you feel either of those places hurt, it's not because you're not used to the move yet, or you're not strong enough, it's because you're doing the move wrong. Okay, so when you do it, the most important thing that helps me differentiate between a tornado and a 540 is when you do a tornado, the kick comes out pretty early. It's like right after you leave the ground, you switch and you kick, right? For your 540, you want to stall it a little bit. And the reason for that is if you do that straight leg lift, as I told you earlier, if you lift with your legs straight, it'll help because your kick will automatically come over that leg. Because obviously you can't kick under, like you can't go like this, right? You have to kick over. And so if you lift your leg straight, you don't have to worry about the height that your kick is coming at. You won't have to be like, oh, I have to kick higher or whatever. All you have to do is spot, lift your leg, and then kick at your target. It'll automatically hit it, I promise you. It'll also help a lot with actually causing you to rotate less at that point, which is a good thing. Now, the reason that you want to stall is it'll actually open your hips up. Because a lot of the times, even when I do like tornadoes, like my kick will come out basically as a front kick because it's coming out at this angle versus this angle. And to get it out at that further angle, all you have to do is stall a little bit and then kick it over. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. So I don't know how to do this actually. I might do like a slow-mo comparison. Anyway, this is my tornado kick. I'll do a straight leg lift so that it'll be more consistent. So this is tornado, right? And then for the 540, all I have to do is I take that same motion, I stall it a little bit, and then I kick over that leg. So it looks like this. I'm still going to spot the same area. And that's all a 540 is. It should be a light landing, it should feel light, and you should be able to land on the balls of your feet. Don't land on your heel, you're going to hurt yourself. Don't try too hard to land on the balls of your feet either. But get used to this motion and land on the balls of your feet, it should help a ton. So a few more tips while doing your 540 is really, when you throw that kick, you want everything to torque over. You want it to come over your body and not kind of, how do I explain this? It should come across like a knife. It shouldn't come over like you're trying to drag your leg over. It should be a really sharp kick that torques your entire body. I'll show a video of how my 540 used to look and then how it looks now, and you'll be able to see the difference. But the main thing is that stall. You want to do everything like your tornado, except you want to stall a little bit and then kick. Do your tornado times like 3. And you'll 540 like without a problem, I can guarantee you. Some other problems people have is they will have problems coming back to the front. So they'll kick over and they'll land like this. And this is a really uncomfortable place to land for a 540. It's an uncomfortable place to land for almost any trick, actually. The thing that I would recommend doing for that is, well, the easiest fix would be to kick harder. But if you go back to the sheet setup and you go back to spotting twice, like that, it should help a lot. Because realistically, if you can get your leg all the way over here, all you have to do is face to the front, is go like this, that's it. So spotting once and then just turning after should help a lot. So if I spot twice really quickly on my 540, it looks like this. Okay, any last comments about this move? It's a lot easier than you think it is, but when you're learning it, you should always go 100%, as hard as you can on this move. It's not something that you can half-ass while you're learning and expect to land. Like if you do a pop 360, you can go like this and be like, oh yeah, I did a pop 3. Well, with the 540, that's not going to work. You're either going to slam like the side of your foot against the ground, you're going to do something terrible to your leg. Just if you're going to do it seriously. It's with almost any trick that's not a preliminary trick. You can do your tornado as lightly and gaily as you want, but your 540 should always be vicious. Hit to kill. When you kick, imagine you're trying to kill something. It'll help a lot. Like, I can't emphasize how important it is to kick hard. If you even have to just stay here and just drill round kicks like this all day long, it'll actually help a ton. But again, it's a cheat setup. So this plus this tornado kick, straight leg lift. And then it's just that with a little bit more power. So here's my last 540. I'll try to make it pretty. And that's your 540. Any other questions? Feel free to, don't email me. Send me a message on YouTube. If I don't get around to it, I'm sorry, it's nothing personal. I will try my best though. Alright, good luck learning this move, be safe. Oh, last thing, if you hurt yourself, if you hurt your ankle or you hurt your groin, don't continue practicing this move. Stretch out, let your body rest, and then come back to it. You can always practice tornadoes or just round kicks or even just your cheat setup if like something's injured. Do not continue drilling 540s. You can switch to a different trick that doesn't require such a hard landing on your right leg. But seriously, like injury, if you keep re-injuring yourself, it'll last a long time. So don't overtrain. Just make sure you're being safe, make sure you're being smart, and get your 540.